This is Nessa on ESL Top 10. Today we're going to be talking about two verbs that can get confused, say and tell. And then we're going to be talking about 10 common expressions with say and tell that you can start using in your everyday English to spice it up and sprinkle a little magic on there. But before we do that, we got to talk about grammar. So let's start with say versus tell. What's the difference? Well, they're both synonyms. They're both about communicating and expressing ideas, but there is a small grammar difference. So you say something, but you always tell someone something. You need the object. I'll give you an example. So say, she said it was delicious. Tell, she told me it was delicious. Don't forget to mention the listener with the verb tell. Now, that's point number one. Point number two, you always have to think of collocations. What's a collocation? A collocation are two or more words that just sound right together. So, some expressions we use say and some we use tell. I'll give you a couple of examples. You might say hello to someone. You don't tell hello. You say hello, just like you say goodbye. You might say a prayer before dinner, or if something difficult is happening in your life, you would say a prayer. You don't tell a prayer. Now tell, you tell someone a joke to make them laugh, or you might tell someone a secret if you trust them. So think about collocations when you're learning verbs and phrases. So now we're going to move on to 10 commonly used phrases, expressions, using the verb tell and say with examples. But before I go on and starting with number one, I want to remind you that there is a worksheet for this lesson. I don't expect you to remember everything. It's too much. So don't forget to get your free PDF that has these 10 phrases and more with examples. So you ready to get set? Because I'm ready, starting with number one. Say. So the first expression for today is to say a few words. To say a few words. What does it mean? It means you're making a short speech. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're at a wedding of a good friend and everyone's about to make toasts in their honor, in honor of the bride and the groom. You could say, I would like to say a few words today. It means you're making a short speech. Number two, easier said than done. Easier said than done. This phrase means, sure, I think your idea or suggestion is great, but it's going to be really difficult. Here's an example. Your parents tell you, you know what? I want you to go out and find a good job. And you're like, sure, easier said than done. Have you seen the economy recently? Easier said than done. Number three, well said. This is used as an adjective. And when you say something is well said, it means I agree with what you said and I like the way you said it. So let's say someone makes a post on Facebook about maybe something political and they express their opinions. And when you read it, you're like, wow, that just sums up exactly how I feel. And the person said it very well. All you could do if you wanted to was type in well said, period. Number four, say when. Say when is a short phrase we use when we want to know how much of something someone wants. You're in a restaurant and you've ordered pasta and the waiter comes around with the pepper and he says, would you like some pepper on your pasta? And you're like, yes, please. And the waiter would say when, and he starts sprinkling. And what he means is tell me when it's enough. Or maybe you have a cup of coffee and your friend is asking you how much milk you want and they say when. They want to know how much milk you want. So when it's the right level, you say perfect. You have said when. Say when. Number 5. Let's say we talk about this tomorrow. Or you want to meet this week? Okay, let's say Friday at 8 p.m. So let's say means how about. Basically, you're making a suggestion. And you're putting forth an idea and someone will confirm or maybe change it. So let's say you watch a video next week. Number 6, say. Just say by itself, followed by a subject and a verb, just like a phrase. Say. Say you had $1 million. What would you do first? Or say you were an animal. What animal would you be? So say here means imagine, picture in your mind, imagine the situation. So say you could have any superpower, which one would you choose and why? I think I would choose invisibility, but that's just me. Number 7. So now we're moving into the verb tell. So I will give you some phrases with the verb tell. First one, tell it like it is. She tells it like it is. If you tell it like it is, it means you express your opinion without fear, even though other people might not agree with you. So you might say, I really respect Marie because she always tells it like it is. Number 8, tell me about it. I love this one. So if someone says something usually negative, like kind of a complaint, like, oh, it's so cold today, or I hate Mondays, or that test was way too hard, and you agree 100%, you feel the exact same way, you can answer by saying, tell me about it. So if you wanted to say, if someone said to you, this winter has just been so long, God, I really want summer to get here, you could say, tell me about it. Number 9, to tell someone off. This is one I used to use, but I've grown up, so I don't use it so much. To tell someone off is a phrasal verb, and it basically means you're scolding someone. You're criticizing them in a kind of angry or aggressive way. So let's say someone is driving and another driver cuts in front of them. That person might tell the driver off. They're like, oh, how dare you, to tell someone off. Or maybe you come into work late again for the 3rd time this week, your boss might tell you off. And number 10, tell something about a person. To tell something about a person or a situation. The verb tell here does not mean to communicate. It means to identify or distinguish something. So I'll give you a couple of examples. Let's say your friend is at a party, but they're not really like talking and laughing and joking as much as they normally do. You could take your friend aside and say, hey, I can tell you're upset about something. What's going on? It means you have noticed that they're upset. You can identify that from their body language. Or maybe you see your friend looking at a really cute boy and you're like, oh, I can tell you like him. It means you can notice that. You can distinguish that from the clues. So those are my 10 expressions with say and tell. But there were more than 10, so don't forget to get your free PDF worksheet. It has many collocations and phrases with say and tell with examples and definitions. Just click the link below. This is Nessa on ESL Top 10. I want to remind you also to subscribe to our channel if you found this video useful. What would you like to hear next? I'm always open to ideas for new lessons. I will see you next time on ESL Top 10. Catch you next time.